This is our third CGC unboxing video. Trace. That's right, I'm multilingual. And in this video, you're not only going to see us unboxing and seeing our results from what we thought the CGC submission would come out as, but we're also going to give you a few tips on what to do when you receive your CGC slabs. So stay tuned, hold on to your Mjolnirs. It's about to get nerdy in here. Nerd, nerd, nerd. Nerdfarious. Thanks for joining us for another CGC grading video. We're going to show you what we think these books are before we send them in and before they're pressed. And then you'll see in the same video what they come back as. And hopefully it won't be 9 months. But we'll see. Avengers number 266. This is the first appearance of the Council of Kangs, first appearance of a Kang variant and death of a Kang variant that killed the Avengers in an alternate timeline, first appearance of unknown Kangs and Kang robots.
This is a comic full of Kangs right here.
If you like Kangs, right there.
I am Kangful.
Spine tick. It's got some bins. I don't know exactly what's going to come out in the press, but it also is missing a slight bit of one of the corners, so I'm saying 9.0.
It's all a lot of the same stuff. I thought the whites were a little dirty. Hopefully they'll clean up. And like I said, it depends on the press, but I had it an 8.5.
I'm very optimistic about this book, and so I gave it a 9.4. Yeah.
Hope shines eternal.
Before we start with this reaction video, just wanted to address one of the comments that was on our YouTube channel. Someone had made the comments that they wish we would show the defects before they go to the cleaner presser and then show it afterwards. Unfortunately, showing those kind of defects on camera is extremely difficult. And by doing that, we would also be extending the length of time it takes to get one of these videos done. So you just got to kind of take our word on that. And from the first two videos, I'm going to tell you about how we did. So on the first episode, I had a -2, which means I was slightly conservative on my grading. And then and Ken had a -5, which means he was a little more moderately conservative, and Great White here had a -7. And then on our second video, I was actually optimistic with a 1, and Ken was conservative with a -9, and Great White was extremely conservative with a -27.
I just didn't like that batch. I don't know what. There's something about it. I thought they were worse than they were.
You don't want Great White working at CGC. I'm just
probably not a good idea. Not a good idea for everybody involved. The Avengers number 267 come back a 9.8 with white pages.
Yeah, I'm totally psyched about that.
Yeah, that's a good grade. So obviously the things that I saw on it probably were defects that pressed out. That's a good book.
I had it down as a 9.4, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I had it as an 8.5. It must have been fairly rough when it was raw, or it's just my super conservative grading style. I'm not sure, but that's a nice score. That's a nice book.
Is Detective Comics number 526. This is the 500th appearance of Batman in Detective Comics. And if you've seen any other episodes that we've done on Nerdfarious, you know this is one of my favorite books. It has all the Batman villains in it. The cover art's not that great, but the story in it is just really good.
And as a perfect bound comic book, those are notoriously difficult to get good grades on just because of the manufacturing process. I gave it a 9.4. I think it'll do really well.
I only went 9.0 on it. I'm not as confident, but I wouldn't be surprised if it come back as a 9.4.
I think this is a really good book. Very clean. I'm giving it a 9.6.
Detective Comics 526, also in a 9.8 with white pages.
Well, I got a little bit closer with that one. I had it at a near mint, a 9.4. It's a good grade.
So this was not how the book came back to us. Actually, when I received this book from CGC, it had a torn label inside the case. So I had to send it back under mechanical error. They did redo it and send it back. But if you're sending in books to CGC, you need to seriously inspect them because you only have like a 2-week period to send them in. Now, if it's some kind of typo in the label, I think there's no limitation on sending it back. But if there's some kind of scratch or something on the case that's not right, you've only got a 2-week window. So make sure you do that.
Good tip. Yeah, I had it as a 9.0. That's another good score and another nice book.
I had a 9.6, so I'll just off a little bit. This next book is Batman number 366. This is the first appearance of Jason Todd in the Robin costume without Batman's permission.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a key.
It is?
That's a key book.
It is.
I gave this an 8.5. There's some issues with the cover that I don't know if it's going to straighten out or not. So that's where I'm at.
Same sort of thing. I saw some non-color breaking spine ticks. Corners were a little bit rough. I had it at 8.5.
I'm giving it a 9.4 because I don't know. I think it's a good book.
Excuse me, sorry.
As the owner of that book, Brad, he's really optimistic.
Yeah.
Okay, here we have Batman number 366. Come back as a 9.4, also with white pages.
So I graded that as a 8.5 with some spine dents, and I guess those all came out.
I got it right on the money. I got a 9.4.
I had an 8.5 as well, but looking down the spine and stuff now, it looks super clean. Solid score.
This book is Batman number 428. And if you remember, this was the book where they had a phone in where you could vote on whether Jason Todd would die in the book. And supposedly, only 75 people higher than the let's let him live said let's let him die. So it was pretty close.
Now, as we've spoken recently about this,
Yes.
I believe that it was probably more like 75% wanted him to die, and that they just try to make it look good.
And I have a question on that. Is that because nobody liked Jason Todd as Robin?
If I remember right, he was pretty whiny. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay. He's
will
been portrayed that way on some of the animated stuff of not being a team player, so to speak. But
I will say when they brought him back, I do like him better as the Red Hood. When they brought him back, Ra's al Ghul brought him back.
So I graded it as a 9.2.
okay, I saw it looked like a couple color breaking spine ticks. I only had it at 9.0.
And I had it as a 9.0 as well.
Okay, here we have Batman number 428. 9.4 with white pages.
So I graded that at 9.2. 9.2, 9.4 is usually like a difference in like a tick or one extra defect. So it's something that obviously came out in pressing.
You had it a little bit lower, but yeah, you were pretty close.
Yeah, I also had it at 9.0. So all in the neighborhood ballpark.
This is Batman 442, the first appearance of Tim Drake in the classic Robin costume.
I graded this a 9.2. It's got multiple color breaking spine ticks. Not super evident, but they're there.
Same thing. I had 9.2 as well.
I was a little bit pessimistic on this book. I gave it an 8.5.
Wow. Next, another Batman, number 442. 9.2 with off-white to white pages.
So I had it graded at 9.2, so that was pretty accurate.
I had it as 9.2 as well.
Apparently, so did I.
Yay.
I don't remember that.
Oh, no, actually, I didn't. I'm sorry. Great White had it 9.2. I had it as an 8.5. I'm sorry. I was looking at his.
Well, one of the
I wish I'd got it right.
yeah. For once, I was more optimistic than Stark.
I don't
Yeah.
think you wish you were right.
Oh, no. Actually, I wish it was much better. You're right. I wish it was much better. And here we have Spider-Man #1, the Silver Edition, and it has Todd McFarlane art on it.
This is a really nice looking book. It's got like some minor bends, non-color breaking, so I gave it a 9.6. I feels like what it's going to come out as.
I also thought it was really nice. I only had a 9.4, but there again, with a good pressing, it might go 9.6, 9.8.
I agree with Ken. I gave it a 9.6 as well.
Okay, here we have Spider-Man #1 in the silver.
So graded as a 9.8. I had it as a 9.6. I have a hard time grading anything as a 9.8, just as a rule of thumb. But so yeah, it's a quality book.
Yeah, I had it as a 9.6 as well. It's just really hard to pull the trigger on 9.8 because you're like on that hill all alone.
Yeah,
Like, I'm going to die on this hill. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had a 9.4 and knew it was going to do well. A 9.8 is nice. It was a classic cover, very nice.
This is Spider-Man 1, just like the other edition, except this is the regular edition with Todd McFarlane art on the cover.
more the same, just slightly less as nice as the silver edition. So I gave it a 9.4.
Yeah, I gave it a 9.4 as well.
And I give it a 9.4.
Wow.
No, I just
Well, so
we'll all be equally wrong.
yeah. So let it be written. So let it be done. Oh, this looks familiar. We have a Spider-Man #1, 9.8 white pages in the regular cover.
So I had it at a 9.4. It's in the near mint area. It is the most overused pose in all comic books, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Everybody and their grandma has redone this cover and done an homage to it. But if I don't never see another one of these poses, I'll be happy, I think.
Interesting fact, when I get out of bed in the morning, I actually leap off the bed in that pose.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just as an homage. You're like,
Yeah.
Total poser. Total poser. Yeah, I had this as a 9.4 as well. Yeah, nice book. Ken's right, though. It has been done and done again and then done again. But still, for the time, it was super sharp.
This is Captain America number 332. It's a Mike Zeck cover, and it's when Steve Rogers resigns as Captain America.
This one has a lot of multiple like bends in the back cover, but I'm not sure how that's going to pan out after a press, but I gave it a 9.0.
I'm super optimistic about it. I like it a little bit more than that. I had 9.6.
I had it as a 9.0. I can't believe you gave it a 9.6.
I think it's going to clean up really well.
Okay.
I'm really optimistic about it.
I know that you would prefer it to be.
Yeah, I'm going with him, but I mean, yeah.
I think the cover's really clean, other than the few problems Ken pointed out on the back, which I really think they'll come out.
Okay. I hope so.
Captain America number 332, 9.6 white pages.
So I had this at very fine near mint, 9.0. I'm a bit off on it. It's a good score though.
Yeah, apparently I really like this one. I nailed it at 9.6.
Good job.
And that's rare for me, but yeah, that's a nice book. I like that cover a lot.
Yeah, I went with the 9.0 with Ken as well. So, but yeah, I'm real happy with the 9.6. For myself, I'm generally happy if I get a 9.6, 9.8. I can live with the 9.4.
9.4 near mint, or actually near mint minus 9.2 up is that's a good looking book, and a 9.6. If all you did was buy 9.6s, you'd have beautiful books. That's usually like a color rub away from a corner. A blunted corner away from having a perfect book, so they always display well.
This is Detective Comics number 470. It's the first appearance of Silver St. Cloud, and I think it's the second appearance of Dr. Phosphorus.
This is my lowest graded book of this batch. I gave it an 8.0 with multiple spine creases and bends and some color breaking spine ticks.
Same problems I saw. A little bit more optimistic. 8.5.
Well, if you
9.8? Is that what
you gave it a what?
I gave it an 8.0.
8.0. I guess I must be smoking crack because I gave it a 9.2.
Anything's possible, you know. He could have something in his eye when he's grading, or we don't know. Detective Comics number 470, 9.2, also with white pages.
I really discounted this one. I had seen a lot of like dents, and I wasn't sure that they would come out. I had it at an 8.0, so it's a whole number grade above. Plus.
Yeah, I apparently felt just a little bit better about it than Ken did. I had it at an 8.5, but yeah, it's a solid score. It looks really, really well. Really, really good after the pressing.
I actually nailed it with a 9.2. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
It's a good deal.
So now for the moment of truth. We're going to see how we scored on that, gentlemen. Okay, so overall, Ken got 1 on the money. Great White here got 2 on the money. And I got 2 on the money. How we graded total. We graded a total of 9 books. And on average, of those 9 books, Ken was off by 19, which gave him a 2.1 average. So you were off by 2.1 on the grading scale on average. Great White here, he had a 20, which is a 2.2. So that is consistent. And then I ended up with a 13, which is a 1.4. So I was 1.5 grades off. I would say, though, on this, I think our cleaner presser guy did a great job, and I think that CGC was a little liberal with the grading. What are your thoughts?
So my thoughts are that I don't know if it was this batch or if it's one of the next batches that we're going to be doing. There was some liberal grading going on. I felt like, a lot of things did come out in pressing, and I'm not a fan of actual pressing. I just like comics as they were made, but the person you're using is pretty fantastic. He's been doing this for, 20 years,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with Ken. He does a good job. You really can't complain about it. I would say some of the scores were inflated, but I tend to be on the low side anyway, so you take that with a grain of salt.
And so then in the end, overall, I had a negative 13, so I was conservative. Ken had a negative 19. He's a little more conservative. And Great White was a little more conservative than Ken with a negative 20. As George Papard in the A-Team would say, I love it when a plan comes together. And what I'm talking about is I love it when a book gets cleaned, pressed, goes to CGC, and comes back as a 9.8. There's no better feeling, is there? You guys know what I'm talking about. So hey, before you go, like and subscribe, and we really appreciate it.